So you have Solomon, Moses, Isaiah, and now Jeremiah.
It's Kevin Sandler with you. Delighted to welcome in a moment. We'll meet Dr. Kyle Martin with his Revive ministry. We got Pastor Matt Reynolds from reviveOHIO. Now we have a blended family now, so there's a Christmas tree in our house because my wife is Catholic, and we have a ball with it. I mean, there's a tree in the house. There'll be a menorah coming out because the two holidays are kind of coming together.
That's right. You have a menorah and a Christmas tree.
We do, yeah. And it works.
It's kind of biblical, actually.
Yeah.
You know that, right?
It does, yeah.
Being Jewish, did your parents practice the Jewish religion?
We did, and we do.
You ever been to Israel?
Never have. My grandpa was. I would love to someday.
That's
a bucket list.
You ever considered doing Aliyah?
Can't say I have.
No, you should. You should go check it out sometime.
One of these days I would
It's one of my favorite places to go every year. Can I give you some encouragement, Kevin?
Sure.
I have, so these 5 verses, have you seen these then, what we do?
I've seen that.
Okay, I'll give this to you.
Well, thank you.
But I want to do something different with you because you're Jewish.
Yeah.
So those are the Christian New Testament verses.
Yeah.
But I want to give you 5 Old Testament verses.
Okay.
Could I do that?
Sure.
So, have you ever heard this before?
No, yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to teach Matt and bless you at the same time.
All right.
And then you can say, Matt, you have your New Testament verses, and then I have my Old Testament. Is that cool?
That works.
Okay, so Ecclesiastes. Solomon, right?
Yeah, he's got him on here.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
You have them on the inside? I don't have that. Oh, okay, let's switch. Okay, here, can I give you this one? This
Yeah.
way you actually
How
have
do you
them.
not have him?
I have an old one, I guess. Okay, so check it out. This is cool. Okay, so this is for when we interact and so we can bless Jewish people. Verse 20.
Okay. There is certainly no righteous man on the earth who does good and never sins.
What this implies, just like Christians would say, we would say, everybody sins.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
Okay, good. Solomon said that. So your first word, sorry, it's not a good one. But
Right.
I promise you'll get it better. Kevin, what's your other one here? What do you got? Go to the black. All right, Deuteronomy 24:16. Okay, do we need to get out of here?
Yeah. Well, he's going to get on the air.
Oh, all right.
So. Fathers are not to be put to death for their children or children for their fathers. Each person will be put to death for his own sin.
Christians believe and Jews believe that everybody physically will die. And that death comes because of sin. For all of us. Right? You would agree to that.
Right.
Okay, good. That's good because it's out of your book. So you kind of have to. All right, let's go to the red one. Flip it inside out again.
Oh, okay.
Leviticus
Okay.
17:11.
All right.
Okay, Matt. Okay, so do you got these verses? You remember these? Ecclesiastes 7:20
Okay.
says everybody sins.
Yes.
Deuteronomy written by Moses,
Right.
24:16 says everybody's going to die. Aren't we glad we had this conversation?
For the life of a creature is in the blood, and I have appointed it to you to make atonement on the altar for your lives, since it is the lifeblood that makes atonement. Sounds like we're talking about Yom Kippur a little bit.
That's right.
About atonement.
The Day of Atonement. Well, this
Yeah,
is exactly the Day of Atonement
Yes.
scriptures. The blood
Yeah,
takes away the death and the sin.
that's right.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay. What does that say?
LSA.
Isaiah.
Isaiah 53:5.
All right, Matt. You know who wrote Isaiah?
Isaiah. They tell me that in seminary.
Yeah, that's good. What I love about this is the prophet Isaiah is prophesying. So he's saying the future. This is what's going to happen.
But he was pierced because of our transgressions, crushed because of our iniquities. Punishment for our peace was on him, and we are healed by his wounds.
Prophet Isaiah says, at some point you have to have faith in whoever this person is that he's talking about.
Sure.
So what's really cool is how all of this actually correlates. It's absolutely bizarre to me with the Christian perspective.
Sure.
So when you share this with Christians, we actually flip it out and these words, exact same words match. Last one. What's the last one? Jeremiah 31.
33, yeah.
Says, okay, it's going to take faith in somebody doing these things. He's going to be pierced for these things. The blood is going to actually be the atonement to take away the death and the sin. So you have Solomon, Moses, Isaiah, and now Jeremiah.
Instead, this is the covenant I will make with the house of Israel after those days. The Lord's declaration, I will place my law within them and write it on their hearts. I will be their God, and they will be my people.
That's a cool one.
Yeah.
Okay, so this last one is life. So the way that the scriptures say here, the way that you're going to start seeing life is that he's going to take the law that was written down and now he's going to put it on your heart. That makes sense?
Yeah, actually.
So there's going to be a change from the religion component to the relationship side. So both prophets prophesy saying it's going to come through a person and it's going to be put on your heart. It says, we even know that life is in the blood. I go to Israel pretty much every year and there's no more temple. So that there's no more sacrifice. See where I'm going with that? Does that make sense? So if there's no blood sacrifice, and then Isaiah says, but there's somebody that's going to take it for us, and then Jeremiah says, no longer is it going to be on the tablets, it's now going to be on the hearts, then what he does say is, then it has to come on a person. The question is who? If it is in the blood, and he says you have to have faith in somebody who does this for us, that you get life when it's on your heart. I just love how, strangely enough, this book actually fits together. It's not two separate books. I think most of us have always put it in, I don't know, we always separate them. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I do.
Here's the fun question I'd ask you to think about. I would actually be crazy enough and bold enough when you go home, just be like, is Jesus really the Messiah that Isaiah and Jeremiah are talking about? Because if he is, the scripture says then he actually does take away your sin. He actually is your atonement. The life is in his blood. If that's the case, then what Jesus said actually is really true. He's the fulfillment of what all the prophets said. Have you ever thought about, just out of curiosity, Jesus ever being the Messiah?
Oh, at times. I mean, you have conversations with friends, and and sometimes it's fun to just you talk casually.
So I don't get to talk to a lot of Jewish people.
No.
so this is fun. How do you, like, in a modern day Jewish person, how do they reconcile that there is no longer the blood sacrifice to cover the sin? Like, what is it that makes you feel secure that your sin has been atoned for without the sacrificial system at the temple? Like, how does that work?
I think a lot of that is when we briefly talked about the Day of Atonement. That is a time when you are sorry for what you've done all that past year. I believe, if you were to really ask, somebody that really had been into rabbinical studies that would really know, as opposed to me, would probably talk about that might be a time you're forgiven. That whatever the atonement would
once a year
be,
once a year.
One thing. Yeah,
they would say, right?
Yeah.
Through Yom Kippur. Even on the Day of Atonement and Yom Kippur, they still don't sacrifice animals. It's more of an act of forgiveness.
Yeah. You don't eat, you break the fast at night.
So in all reality, it's okay to say this. This isn't a judgment. That's truth. They're not following what Scripture says. Because what they would do is they would, what's the oral traditions? They have the oral traditions that would say, hey, but now it's not here, this is okay to do this. Mm-hmm. Right?
Sure.
That's what they would say. It'd be like taking a pastor's word saying, hey, this is what we're going to do and it's okay. Well, you have been a gracious host.
Oh, I appreciate it.
You keep that paper, will you?
I will.
Will you do that?
Hey, if you ever want to talk about that somewhere, like, I would love to. I don't know any other Jewish people.
Yeah.
So maybe, I don't know, I'm not trying to be weird, but maybe we could just, like, even get breakfast sometime, or just talk about it more.
Yeah, just let me know.
Would you be willing to give me your phone number so I could call you sometime?
Yeah, 419.
I could tell, like, from our conversations before, I didn't know anything about your Jewish background, but I could tell you just had your heart, like, even from our conversations, like, you're not just interviewing, like, there's something in your heart where you are really open to this God. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just, I don't know how to say it.
Well, there's been some things that have happened sometimes that can't be explained. Did that just happen that we coincidentally were scrolling around and saw that picture, or was that a meeting that got somehow set up? Mm-hmm. Right? You never know that kind of stuff. And it's neat to think about how our life turned because we happened to look at the right picture at the right time,
You know,
and we listened to her. That's the other thing. Our hearts were open to listen to what she had to say, and look what it did. That kind of stuff.
I think what you said was probably more prophetic than you'll ever know.
Yeah.
I think the Lord always orchestrates divine appointments. And, you know, I think there's a lot here, Kevin.
Sure.
And what I'm thankful for is your listening heart.
Oh, not a problem. I'll tell you before we wrap it up. It's a joke, but it's not a joke, because I know you've heard it before. Did you hear about the guy that was in the water and somebody walked by and they go, let me pull you out? No, I'm praying for God to get me out. Okay, well, I got a stick. I'll pull you out. And finally he drowns, gets to heaven, and God, why didn't you save me? Well, I sent you 4 guys. One had a rub. You didn't, you know, and it's on one hand, yes, that's funny. On the other hand, no, that's kind of, there's something in there, isn't there? You know, that it's not always obvious, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Sometimes it's not so obvious.
It's not in the way what you're always looking for.
Yeah, that's why.
You probably wouldn't have thought even this would have come through a radio interview.
Right, that kind of stuff. But you know, if you're not open to it, you miss it.
Yeah.
You know, and so that's what it is.
Bless you.
Yeah.